じゃあ警察は富武さんはたたりで死んだってそう言うんですか?
I couldn't help but feel that the police were worthless. That is a general feeling that you may have at times. You know, during Imineko, I guess it's understandable. Like, the island was closed in for like 2 days. No police would be able to get there in the first place, so it's not like they would be able to do anything. In Ace Attorney, however, there were some cool police, though, in The Summoning Files. There was Kaname-date, there was Bus, and there was Kakashi.
It's Kagami!
He was the underdog of that series, that's for sure. I just wanted the idea of a curse to be dissociated from Tomitake-san's mysterious death. But, hysteria. You know, I am taking what you're saying to us mostly at the literal for right now, in the sense that what you're telling us about the details of the murder is true. And what you're telling us, like what you found out and such, is true. In which case you're saying that he basically clawed his neck through hallucinations and hysteria and such. In which case it does make me think of what would cause such a thing. One could say drugs, which you're saying that it is really difficult to find that out. In which case, something that needs to be searched is the ways that a brain can be affected. Like, it can be drugs, or it could be some other ways. How can one person be affected? Like, we can talk about the senses. One person could be affected through touch, hearing, eyesight. So it kind of makes you think, how can a person's mind be affected through, for example, through touch? Did he touch something, for example? Whether it's by touch through fingers, through nose, like inhaling something, I guess that is something that you would have discovered anyway. Like traces of, like, smells on the body, or the skin being touching something, like, I don't know, for example, like poisoned plants or something very rare that would make you go crazy. But no. If I'm to think of stuff that would inflict pain or damage, or even to the point of death, that would inflict death on somebody, leaving no traces whatsoever, it would be either through eyesight. It would be eyesight or hearing, I believe. Unless there's something else that I'm missing out here. For example, it kind of makes me think of one episode from JoJo. There is this one phenomena going on at some point where it is through subliminal images that it affects your body in some way. So that could be a possibility. Maybe through some hearing. Maybe listening to something at a certain frequency would make you go crazy and such. In which case, that is definitely some research that I could do.
悔しいですが、今のところは。ですが、死因はともかく、死ぬ前に何人かの人間に囲まれて暴行を受けたことだけは間違いありません。
Yeah.
たたりでなく、人間が事件に関わっているのは疑いようがありませんよ。
That may be a bit relieved. We passed in front of the rather desolate, but still busier than Hinamizawa, train station. The car pulled into a restaurant parking lot, and I followed Oishi-san into the shop. It was pretty crowded, but there were only adults at this hour. Of course, there wouldn't be children here in the middle of the weekday, except for Keiichi himself. You know, this would be a good place for Keiichi to be with his friends. Yeah, I guess so. Now we're with Oishi. The second best thing in the world. The owner of a car with air conditioning.
2名です。タバコは、我慢します。
こちらへどうぞ。ご注文がお決まりになりましたらお呼びください。
We were led by a peculiarly dressed waitress to our table. I sat with Oishi-san in the booth.
どうです？このお店のウェイトレスさんの格好、可愛らしいと思いません？
They sure are.
まあどうでしょうね。
このお店ね、いっつも大人気なんですよ。お料理よりもウェイトレスさんがね。
ああ、大石さん、目がやらしいですよ。
そうですか？
Okay. I guess so. Let's see. Ooh. Torta al cioccolato. Regardless of how the waitresses looked, the food was decent enough. Look at all this gelato over here. Finishing our meals while talking about some inane topic, Oishi-san's after-meal cup of coffee arrived at the table.
昨日、Hinamizawaの昔話が出ましたよね。
ええ、人食い鬼の里だって言われてたって話でしたっけ？
私もあんまり詳しい方じゃないので、うちのばあ様に今朝ちょっと聞いてみたんです。
Oishi-san took out the notepad that was stuffed into his breast pocket.
なんでもですね、大昔はHinamizawaは鬼ヶ淵って呼ばれてたんだそうです。
God damn it, Oishi. While we're eating too? I mean, I get it, we're detectives right over here, but still, I mean, you could do that after a meal.
鬼ヶ淵、すごい名前ですね。
Onigafuchi.
今でもその名前残ってるんですよ。神主の妻が受水自殺した沼の名前は今でも鬼ヶ淵というんです。沼の底の底は鬼たちの住む国とつながってると言われてたんだそうです。
Indeed. It kind of makes me question though, like, where is Onigafuchi? Like, how far is it from the village? Of course, nobody has told me anything about such an ominous swamp.
でですね、鬼ヶ淵は恐れられていたと同時に崇められてもいたんだそうです。
A respect born of fear. I guess you could say it was kind of deification. Yeah, truly. Like, it is a part of Shinto. Like, you praise yourself to the demon to not get on its bad side. A village of inhuman creatures.
鬼たちはある種の仙人でもあったらしいんですよ。
Senin?
例えば、不治の病にかかった村人を鬼ヶ淵に運んで治してもらったりとかしたんだそうです。
Even if we are calling them demons. Tengu, the long-nosed goblins, or Senin would it be a more apt description?
鬼って言ってもそんなに悪い人たちじゃないみたいですね。
でもそこはやっぱり人食い鬼らしいんです。ばあ様に聞いた昔話ではですね、息子を治療してもらった代償として連れてきた母親を食わせろとこうなるらしいんですよ。
息子を治療してもらった対価が自分ですか？それは怖いな。
もちろん母親は息子を連れて逃げます。これをですね、鬼ヶ淵に住む村人、鬼たちがですね、全員で追いかけて取り囲んで捕まえたんだそうです。
The entire village, apparently. That's quite a frightening thing to imagine.
結局、母親も息子も捕まって食べられちゃったんだそうです。おしまい。
その話、矛盾がありますよ。当事者の2人が食べられちゃったんですから、その話が残るはずがありません。
except by the victors, that is, the villagers.
ありゃ。昔話はこういうの多いですよね。
In contrast to the ghastly tale, Oishi-san laughed heartily while sipping his coffee.
でもですね、他の昔話にも結構あるらしいんですよ。鬼ヶ淵の鬼たちが総出で獲物を捕まえに来るというのは。
I recall that Mion said all the villagers united and fought against the dam construction. I saw similarities with how that part about unification overlapped.
鬼たちの獲物は常に一人で、しかも前もって決められているらしいんです。
Yeah, I mean, it was said that they were even considered the Onigafuchi guardians, from what I remember. Or something along the lines of that. And, yeah, I guess so. I guess it's because of how connected Hinamizawa is to these demon traditions / fables and such. I mean, we have a swamp that is called Onigafuchi, the Demon's Abyss. There is a certain past when it comes to praying for the demons. They call themselves Onigafuchi guardians in similar fashion to demons that would come out of Onigafuchi to capture these humans, the dam supporters. That caught my attention. Oishi-san also appeared to be pondering what it meant.
ばあ様が言うにはですね、鬼の狩りの時には絶対に邪魔をしてはいけない。家に閉じこもって布団をかぶってろって言うんです。
つまりどういうことですか？
獲物の人を助けたり、かくまったりしてはいけないんだそうです。鬼の狩りを邪魔しない限り、村人には危害を加えない。
I mean, what are we trying to assume over here? That since Keiichi is trying to figure out not just the past, but also disturb the demon's hunt, a.k.a. Figure out what is happening with Tomitake. Because of that, now we're being looked at from behind by the demons of the village. Why is Keiichi the one who has to be like in the dark? If this is, let's assume that this is a tradition that, okay, people are gonna have to die like each year as some sort of sacrifice, or you know, damn the sinners and all that. Shouldn't Keiichi know about this? Shouldn't Keiichi learn about this stuff as well? You know, have Rena and the rest of the girls just give Keiichi a little bit of a after school lesson about the demons of Hinamizawa. Not in a horrific way, but you know, just let him in on the action. Why are we gonna have to be in the dark about all this? Hell, Rena seems to know some stuff around here, and she has been here for like 1 year. She had to have learned at some point. So why can't we learn about all this from them?
そういうルールなんだそうです。
Unless they're gonna think that, well, since we're so fresh out of the oven, we are not gonna be able to understand this whole thing, and we are gonna endanger the village with our opinions of how people shouldn't die, like at all. Basically, don't help the victims. In this case, since Keiichi is freshly baked out of the oven, he's still gonna try to help the victims. And that is a big no-no in front of the girls. Or something like that. Pretend he didn't see the atrocities, in other words.
ルールを破ったらどうなるんです？
さあ、
You're gonna get eaten alive! Woo!
何しろ人食い鬼ですからね。
Many parts of that tale caught my attention. Parts of the story he told me overlapped with his theory that the entire village was in on a crime. Even if it wasn't the whole village, It was conceivable that the villagers were hiding under the covers and leaving them to die, when there's a group that was on their hunt, wasn't it? That's quite something. I mean, you know, when I came to Hinamizawa for the first time, I knew that there was going to be something going on. I mean, I was told that this story was going to be a horror one. And I guess so. Now we're starting to peel off, like, the skin of the human to reveal that there is a demon behind it, in the form of a village. And the question still goes. This question still stands. How deep does the rabbit hole go? He didn't dare speak it.
じゃあ大石さんはやっぱり村ぐるみもしくは村人数人の犯行だと見てるんですね。
前原さんはどう思います？ああ、すみません。コーヒーのおかわりいいですか？
And that's what I wanted to know. It seemed that we were both waiting for the others to say that last part. He waited for the waitress to finish pouring all coffee before speaking.
去年、サトシ君が失踪した頃から私は不審に感じていたんです。
Oishi-san muttered as he watched the milk swirl around his coffee.
それで、サトシさんのお友達、つまり前原さんのお友達グループの皆さんをちょっぴりだけ、本当にちょっぴりだけですよ。調べさせてもらったんです。
If Oishi-san had said this to me before, I would have gotten angry at him for calling my friends into question. But as I was now, I couldn't. Yeah. There was this feeling that I had before that you surely must know some of the girls that Keiichi is acquainted with. And I guess that is understandable because of Satoshi's disappearance like last year. He already did some of the checks in the past, and now you're doing it again.
とてもつまらない話になります。前原さんがつまらないと感じたらいつでもおっしゃってください。
Alright, well, test us.
終わりにしますので。
Oishi-san was wearing the most serious expression I'd ever seen from him. It was as if he was telling me to prepare myself and listen. And there were quite a few things I regretted hearing from Oishi-san, but none of them were as threatening as this. A little voice inside me was screaming like an alarm. Stop, Keiichi. This is probably the last one. We're taking a deeper dive right over here. I took a deep breath and silenced that voice. I would not run from the truth.
お願いします。
That was all I could utter. Oishi-san stared into my eyes silently for a few moments. Until he was certain I was ready, he began.
1年目の事件の被害者は現場の監督さんだったんですが、事件の数週間前に園崎美音さんと取っ組み合いをしてるんですよ。
Mion specifically? She would have been like... She would have been like around 10 years old at that point.
何度か。
Oishi-san had said before that Mion had defied the damn project vehemently. Well, it wasn't hard to imagine how she'd be if she got worked up.
2年目の事件で誘致派の夫婦が事故に遭いましたよね。現場にはお嬢さんも一緒にいたんです。それが北条聡子さんなんです。
え？聡子って聡子？
Yeah, basically. The Hojo couple. Oishi-san's look told me that my voice was too loud. I realized it as well, and quickly quieted down.
3年目には神主夫婦が亡くなられますよね。そのお嬢さんが古出理香さんです。
Okay, so she is the daughter.
リカちゃんが
4年目に亡くなった主婦はもうわかりますね。
I mean, you said yourself that the victim... you said yourself that the child that disappeared was Satoshi Hojo. which once again made me think of Satoko. But you're saying that the housewife of that child died. And yet, we also talk about the Hojo couple from, like, the second year. What you're implying is that this housewife from 1982 would actually be the same mother of Satoko from that second year?
北条聡子さんの義理のおばです。当時は聡子さんはご両親を事故で失っていましたので、預けられていたのです。
Okay, so it was the step-aunt. Okay. She was in her aunt and uncle's custody. Yeah, she had lost both her parents in the accident. Yeah, it makes sense.
被害者宅に。
So that makes Satoshi like the cousin. I could tell my lips were getting dry. I didn't even have the wits to keep my mouth from hanging a gap. I thought it was nothing but a bizarre incident, one that I could easily distance myself from. But clicking and clacking, it had snuck all the way to my feet.
ちなみに、4年目に失踪した北条聡さんは、聡子さんの実の兄になります。
Older brother.
ちょっと待ってください。
It took everything I had to finally say that. I gulped down a glass of water and once again wiped my face with a napkin. Calm down, Keiichi Maibara. But Oishi-san was relentless. Instead of waiting for me to finish sorting out my feelings, he started speaking again. The rest of the things I shouldn't have heard.
被害者たちはなぜかあなたのお友達グループに全てつながるのです。
偶然に決まってるじゃないですか。
前原さん、静かに静かに。みんな見てますよ。
Mion. Satoko. Rika-chan. So what if they are connected? You're telling me all my friends? You know, that is such a coincidence that you made friends with such victims of the murders from previous years. Man. Once again, I did say that there would be a reason for why they would keep like all this hush-hush. Because they don't want, like, all this stuff is happening around them. They don't want the same thing to happen to another friend that they just made like a month ago. In the form of Keiichi. I don't want Keiichi to die. That's what I want to believe. It couldn't be. It just couldn't be. Rena is different, isn't she? Rena isn't connected with the victims at all. Yeah, that is something that I noticed.
竜宮レナさんは去年まで茨城の郊外にお住まいでした。まあ確かにいずれの被害者とも直接の面識はありませんが。
He said in an roundabout way. Is he saying she's also connected?
実は調べてみたら、竜宮さんは引っ越しの少し前に学校で謹慎処分を受けているんですよ。
Suspended from school. I guess it makes sense. She does still like. I probably shouldn't say this in front of a detective.
なんでも学校中のガラスを割って回ったんだとか。
Broke all the windows.
レナが学校中のガラスを割った？
That seems spacey. Arena had. I couldn't even imagine it.
3日間の謹慎が明けた後も復学しなかったようです。その間に神経科に通院し、何週間かの間、投薬と医師によるカウンセリングを受けています。
Dysautonomia. I wonder if it was something like a nervous breakdown. Or it happens to people who are really methodical or overly sensitive. Neither of those matched Rena's easygoing personality.
でですね、そのカウンセリングをした医師のカルテに、レナさんの会話内容が記載されているんですがね、その中に出てくるんですよ。
It. Oh, don't you talk about it. I don't want to hear that we're gonna have to deal with a Higurashi version of a Tim Curry.
結構。
何がです？
I pressed forward carelessly. There couldn't be anything more for me to regret.
出てくるんですよ。お社様って単語が。
Before she came to Hinamizawa? I feel like someone's stone cold hand was caressing my back. Why had Rena spoken of Oyashiro-sama before she even came to Hinamizawa? Huh. That actually surprises me a little bit over here.
お社様っていう幽霊みたいなものがですね、夜な夜な自宅にやってくるっていうんですよ。枕元に立って自分を見下ろすんだって。
My mind froze. I couldn't process what I was being told.
その後、しばらくしてひなみ沢に引っ越されたんです。ああ、そうそう。レナさんはよそ者なんかじゃないですよ。
え？
住民票で分かったんですが、竜宮一家は元はひなみ沢の住人です。
Oh. I guess that makes sense.
レナさんがちょうど小学校に上がるときに茨城へ引っ越されたんです。
My mind went completely blank. Similar to the static you see on a blank TV channel. My ears began ringing as I lost all sense of comprehension.
前原さん、大丈夫ですか？もう終わりにしましょうか。
Those words brought me back. Let it end here.
レナのことは分かりました。じゃあ最後の被害者の富武さんはどうなんですか？
So it's not necessarily that that Rena came for the first time at Hinamizawa, but that she moved out and then she moved back. Why? Can you tell us something about Rena's parents?
誰と接点があるんですか？
Irritated, I let out one final reprisal.
全員ですよ。お忘れですか、前原さん。みんなで楽しくお祭りの晩を過ごしたじゃないですか。
And the previous years as well.
何人もの警官が皆さんの楽しそうな様子を見ていますよ。
Now there was nothing I could respond with. Fell silent as my brain turned to mush.
そろそろ出ましょう。ああ、前原さん。お昼の薬は飲みましたか？
I had completely forgotten about the medicine I had gotten today until Ichi-san said that. I got another glass of water, and we left the shop after I chugged it down. We got in the car and returned to Hinamizawa via the rough road. I never really paid attention when I was on my bike, but did cars normally shake this much? It was almost as if the road was desperately trying to tell me something. But that big jolt was from the difference in elevation of the road when it changed from cement to dirt. Yeah, basically. I was certain that I heard Tomitake-san scream. Sat in silence, just letting myself be shaken by the car.
お家の前まで送りましょう。今日は病気でお休みだったんですよね。長々とお話ししてしまって申し訳ありませんでした。
なんで俺に話すんですか？
I blurted out the question. Really just blurted it out. I didn't expect an answer.
私、一応確認しましたよね。お話やめましょうかって。
じゃなくて、どうして俺に接触してきたんですか？
I understood quite well that Oishi-san was investigating the string of suspicious incidents. But why was he telling me all this? I knew nothing and I couldn't help. Everything Oishi-san spoke of was news to me. First of all, what could I, having just moved here, possibly know? My chance, if there was a reason for Oishi-san to reach out to me, then it would have to be that I was part of Mion's circle of friends who looked suspicious to Oishi-san. Well, I guess one reason would be that she tried with the other girls, but they were surely not being cooperative.
私ね、今年で定年なんです。
You're retiring?
定年したらばあ様の意向で引っ越しちゃう予定なんですよ。だからこそ在職中にこの事件だけははっきりさせておきたかったんです。
Huh.
で、大石さんは疑ってるんですよね。みんなを。
Oishi-san didn't really give a response. It felt a little late, but I thought it was his way of showing a bit of consideration for my feelings.
これはこの道30年の勘です。前原さん、危ないのはあなたなんですよ。
I wanted to reply with, "That's absurd." But in my downtrodden state, I couldn't bring myself to say it.
私は今年で定年ですから、来年の綿流しの日にはもういません。だから今年中に決着をつけたいのです。
In other words, he was insinuating that on the next Watanagashi, I might be the victim.
所長からも注意を受けています。一連の事件は個々に解決しているから蒸し返すなというんです。これは一種の圧力です。
圧力って何のですか？
Hinamizawaの誰かですよ。着きました。この辺でいいですか？
After some time, the car finally reached the path to my house. The clock read 2 p.m. I was surprised so little time had passed since we ate. It was hot outside the car. The chirping of the Higurashi hurt my ears.
今日の話はすべて忘れてくださっても結構です。ですが、私は捜査を続けますよ。親代様のたたりは今年で終わらせます。
何かあったら連絡しろってことですか？
いいんですよ。前原さんがどうしても連絡したくなった時だけでいいんです。
Now, I wasn't collected enough to understand Oichi-san's roundabout way of saying it.
ゆっくり休んでください。病気でお休みの時によくない話ばかりして申し訳ありませんでしたね。
I didn't really give any sort of response.
私はいつでもあなたの味方です。それだけは信じといてくださいよ。それじゃあ、失礼。
The tires crunched over the dirt road as the car made a U-turn and disappeared into a cloud of kicked up dust. Alrighty then. It felt like I was watching a boat only throw me a lifesaver in shark-infested waters before disappearing into the distance. Sounded like it. Okay, Keiichi, well, you have been very, very careful up until now, like 100%. Now I gotta crank that up to 200%. That was the first time I thought Oishi-san was being unfair, telling me I was going to be the next victim, then just saying to contact him if something happened. This wasn't a criminal investigation. It was fishing. And that was just a bait dangling off the line. One could say that, yeah. In fact, I was giving that idea at first. Except I was talking about Tomitake being alive as well and cooperating with Oishi to bait Keiichi into like having the criminal go after Keiichi, and then the police will just swoop in and catch the criminal. Or maybe they think that Keiichi is the criminal. Nah, that's stupid. Maybe we're gonna find out that Keiichi did something really, really bad in the past, and he doesn't even know, and it will only be until much, much later that he finds out, like, what he did, the sins that he did, and then we're gonna say, oh, now I finally understand everything. It's just, oh. And then he will feel sorry for all that he did in front of the girls and such. Can you imagine? Would the fish be the perpetrator? Or was it really just Oyashiro-sama's curse? Either way, the bait will be swallowed whole.
ちくしょう。俺、死にたくないよ。
For some time, I could do nothing but stare at the puddle of water left behind by the AC from the car. I'm gonna miss that sweet old AC. It's like the opposite of hell. You know how you imagine that hell would be really, really hot? Well, like the car would be the one place where the demons would not be, because it's really, really cold inside. I wonder how much time had passed since I laid down. It was getting dark outside. My body was soaked in sweat. But, okay. You know what? Like, we've gotten quite a few information in the last days when it comes to the past murders and such. It does make me think of the murder method. I mean, if there were such a thing as something that can make you go hysterical to the point of suicide, what are we even talking about here? Are we talking about some sort of device that if you were to put it in front of the victim, like to either see it on the screen, like the subliminal images that would make them go nuts, or hell, maybe that same method would be the reason why some of the victims just disappeared. They were just brainwashed. Oh my god, brainwashing. No, I don't want brainwashing to be the case here. But yeah. Could be possible, I guess. In which case, that same thing that killed them could also be the thing that made them disappear. Where would they disappear, though? Into the swamp? So we are still talking about cases of suicide / killing themselves via the swamp. It's just that all those cases were considered disappearances by the police. Would you say that is really demon the way? Like, there is this thing between Oyashiro's curse and the Onikakushi. These sort of feel different from one another in a way that I cannot even describe because I don't know much about these two stuff. It would probably be a good idea to change my sheets. At that moment, the phone downstairs rang. Oh, it was probably Mom. I mean, you know, something like that would make sense when it comes to the person that died in a prison cell, the people that fell off of the observatory. Mom was quite the word. Maybe she had called many times, but I just didn't notice it. Yeah.
もしもし、前原ですけど。
お、生きてた。もしもーし。
Hello there, Mion.
ミオンだけど、具合はどう？
圭一のお友達ですか？圭一は休んでますけど。変わりましょうか？
え？あ、お父様で？すみません。
バカで
You baka.
引っかかってやがるよ。
After our exchange, we both had a good laugh together. Except I was suspicious of her even as we were laughing. Was everybody really involved in the instance? You know, it is at this point that I have this feeling of having to say goodbye to these sweet moments for a little bit until much, much later. Because surely things are gonna get even more weird, I can imagine, so... Those truly were some nice moments that we had with the girls. Indeed. And we gotta treasure these moments while we can. The fact that I couldn't say no saddened me.
元気そうで安心したよ。レナもすっごく心配してたよ。さとこは邪魔はないですわって喜んでたな。リカちゃんは病気でかわいそうかわいそうですってさ。
チェ、みんなで勝手に大盛り上がりしてたみたいだな。
Yeah, indeed.
まあまあ。でさ、ケイちゃん、お見舞いに行っちゃ都合悪いかな。
お見舞い？いいよそんな。重病人ってわけじゃないんだから。
うちのバッチャが山ほどおはぎを作ってさ、お裾分けに持ってけって言ってんだよ。だから持ってくね。
Alright, well, thank you, Mion. How sweet of you. One of the rare moments.
おいおい、風が移っても知らねえぞ。
おじさんもレナもおバカさんだから大丈夫。
That is a good point.
じゃあね、すぐ行くから。
She hung up cheerfully. Rena's coming too. That's what it sounded like. I was still concerned about meeting Rena, but I guess if she was with me, I guess so. I heard a doorbell 10 minutes later.
どんな感じ？ちゃんと薬飲んで寝てた？
そりゃもうしっかりとな。
元気そうでよかった。心配してたんだよ。
悪かったな。明日にはもう大丈夫だよ。
Mion showed a complete lack of concern for someone who was recovering, and Rena looked like she was worried about me from the bottom of her heart. It didn't look like there was anything behind those expressions.
ちょっとお邪魔しようかと思ったけど、まだ本調子じゃないみたいだね。
そうか？
It seemed my face appeared a bit sullen.
じゃあこれ、ケイチくん、みーちゃんのおばあちゃんが作ってくれたおはぎだよ。
Rena held out a package wrapped in newspaper. There might be about 5 in here. It was quite hefty.
な、サンキューな。ミオンのばあちゃんによろしく伝えといてくれよ。
その中にね、レナが作ったのも混じってるんだよ。ケイチくんに見つけられるかな。これ、今日の部活を欠席したケイちゃんへの宿題ね。おはぎにアルファベットがついてるから、明日回答すること。
Well, that's a nice little puzzle that you offered us. Thank you.
お見舞いなのか部活なのか、どっちかにしろ。
元気元気。これなら明日は大丈夫そうだね。
この騒ぎで熱がぶり返したらどうしてくれんだよ、まったく。
みーちゃん、あんまり騒いじゃ悪いよ。もう行こう。お家の人にも怒られるよ。
Both of them thought my parents were home. It was because the entranceway was a mess.
そうだね。もう行こっかね。あ、そうそう、ケイちゃん。
なんだよ。
お昼、何食べた？
The sudden question startled me, and I went wide-eyed when I saw Mion. I had never seen her like that. It was a highly unsettling visage. But why she asked me about what I ate for lunch? What she said was so inane, it was almost meaningless. The way she said it, it was almost like she didn't even care at all about what I ate. Alright, in which case she knows that Keiichi went with Oishi once again, like outside Hinamizawa. And he ate it. How would she even know about this? Unless Mion, when she's talking about working for her uncle, or even grandma. Like, the place where she works is really close to where Keiichi and Oishi ate. Phew, that would be quite a huge, unlucky coincidence.
表で食べたよ。
She must have suspected that I was with Oishi-san. Anyway, I felt that if I hesitated or tried to change the subject, then they'd read too deep into it. So I tried answering as quickly as possible. Except, contrary to the efforts I had made, there was a pause before they replied.
ケイチ君、お昼は外食だったんだね。
Yes. The glimmer from Rena's eyes had changed at some point as well. It was now sharp, as if to make me feel the fate and ignorance behind her words even more. As if she already knew. That's how it looked to me.
どう？美味しかった？
なんでそんなことを聞くんだよ。
Mion was speaking in an unusually low tone. Almost as if she knew that I had eaten at the restaurant in town. Yeah, she more than likely knows. No, I'm overthinking this. I mean, both of them should have been in school at lunchtime. There was no way they could have known where I was.
渋いおじさまとご一緒だったみたいだけど。誰？
Flop. The package with the mochi I was holding slipped out of my hands. I could tell the blood had drained from my face, making me go pale.
へえ。ケイチ君、それ誰？ひょっとして、この間の人かな？
Maybe. So what?
かな。
I could feel the back of my throat going dry. And this was no longer a bluff. They knew everything?
なんでそんなことわかるんだよ。
It took everything I had to finally force those words from my throat. My knees were shaking.
さーてね。おじさんにわからないことはないからね。
Mion sneered knowingly, and her laugh seemed to carry on forever.
で、ケイちゃん、何のお話をしてたの？
A couple of things here and there.
ずいぶんと熱くなってたみたいだけど。
Maybe.
みんなの話はしてないよ。ミオンともレナとも関係ない。
ふん。聞いてもないのにレナたちの名前が出るなんて、なんだか怪しいな。
Rena's unwavering gaze pierced through my eyes and peered further inside me. I dug my own grave. My heart was throbbing so much, I felt like it was going to explode. Alright, so it was about you. What about it?
ま、何を隠れてやろうとも、おじさんにはすべてお見通しってこと。それだけを忘れないでくれればいいかな。
I couldn't even shake my head. Took everything I had to stop my teeth from chattering. She never let her gaze break from mine, even as she tilted her head slightly.
ケイチ君、顔色悪いよ。もう横になった方がいいと思うな。
そうだね。私たちはもう帰ろう。
Alright, well, bye. As if nothing had happened, they both giggled at each other and started making their way out. I hadn't moved a muscle since I had dropped the package of mochi. As they left, the door slowly closed behind them. All I could do was stare, as if I couldn't move until the door was completely closed. And just as the door was just about closed, it opened again slightly with a sudden creak, sending my heart racing once again. The single eye peered in through that narrow slit, and Mion's hawkish gaze peered at me once again.
じゃあね、ケイちゃん。
あ、
Yeah, well, see you later, Mion.
明日、学校休んじゃ嫌だよ。
Thud. The door closed. I wasn't able to move a muscle even after their low laughter died off into the distance, and silence once again enveloped the room. Yeah, you laugh. You laugh all you can. But don't you think that is going to stop us from figuring out what is going on here? You think that I'm doing this because I'm against you. But no. On the contrary, I'm doing this because I care about you guys. That picnic, that zombie game, those games that we had in classroom, that is gonna be the end goal of all this.